We're now into autumn, but the weather thinks otherwise. We're in for a bit of a heat wave this weekend. So whilst today is nice and overcast and a little bit chilly, I'm taking the advantage to get a few chores done on the garden. If you've been with me a while, you'll know that semi-annually I prune this wisteria, and that's to help encourage it to flower next year. So today is its first prune, and what I'm going to be doing is pruning these whippy bits down to 5 buds, and then later on I'll take it down to 2 or 3. So as I say, I'm taking advantage of this chillier weather to get this job done. You might be able to see how it's growing up into that tree. Whilst I don't mind that, I do want it to flower. That's the main point to it for me. It's beautiful when it does. There's a few other gardening things I'd like to try and get done today if I can. So it should be quite a nice day today. That's the wisteria done. So now I'm turning my attention to the grapevines behind the house. I need to prune these back now to 2 leaf buds. So the grapevine only gets pruned once a year, as opposed to the wisteria, which gets 2. But you can see again with these vines just looking to travel as far and wide as they can, whereas what I want them to do is concentrate their efforts into producing fruits and flowers. So we're at a bit of odds as to what we want, but hopefully they don't mind being kept a bit under control. If you're in the UK, you may or may not realise that our seasons are the opposite of yours. So about a month ago we got our spring bulb catalogues through the various places I like to shop. Garden Express is one of the ones I like to use. It's an online place. They send bulbs and plants and all sorts of stuff through the post and seeds. So as I say, about a month ago the spring bulb catalogues came out, ready for planting this time of year, which is autumn here. And as you can see, I did go to town a little bit. Bulbs being bulbs, you actually do get quite a lot of bang for your buck, so this didn't come to heaps of money, but more money than I've spent previously, because I'm really wanting now that we've laid the foundations in the formal garden in terms of the original flower bed and the donut bed, which is more sort of here, and now that we're moving forward with things like planting a few trees about, and we've got our little deciduous tree area outside of the fence line here, we're really starting to develop the garden. I thought it would be a good opportunity to up the spring bulbs game. So can't actually really remember what I've bought. Let's see if this helps. So I got some crocuses. I like crocus. Now these daffodils, they're like tiny little daffodils, which are very, very pretty. Jonquils, I've developed a soft spot for these. They look very much like daffodils, but they have really beautiful fragrance and they make lovely cut flowers in the house. So I've gone to town a bit on those. I thought I'd try out some freesias. I've never really grown freesias before, but we'll see how that goes. This is like a little flower which springs up in the lawn, which is very, very pretty. Got some bluebells to go more in the woodlands. You can't get English bluebells here, but so I'm having to make do, but and then I've got some more daffodils, and these maybe go more like on the wider property, whereas these are slightly more specialist and they'll go inside the garden mostly. This is what it looks like when it's arrived today. So what I think I'll do is get them all set out and then remind myself where I had intended to put them. I don't like to buy plants or seeds or bulbs willy-nilly. I like to put a lot of thought into colour and size and flowering period and things like fragrance and attractiveness to wildlife. And then I also like to think where actually I'm going to put them. So every plant here should have a place. What I need to do now is remember what that place was. I've sorted them out, and in fact I've already started planting. I planted the bluebells. They were going to go, or have gone, under the oak tree. So I'm thinking bluebells and oak trees seem pretty synonymous to me, so I hope they're happy there. What I've now done there is separate them out into where I'm going to roughly put them. So these things, these two crocuses, the freesias and this, are all going in the flower beds or in the formal garden. These are the jonquils, so these are the jonquils that are white in colour. These are my yellow. And I'll put those in a combination of inside the formal garden and outside. I've got these really cool looking daffodils, which will probably go outside the formal garden. These crocuses I'm going to plant underneath these fruit trees. And I've got this mixed bag of daffodils which are going to go along the drive. So what I think I'll do, because I've got a bit of weeding to do on the formal beds this morning, or at least today, I will leave these ones till last. And I will turn my attention to the ones that I know are going outside of the formal garden. Got my bag there of sort of 25 generic mixed daffodils. I thought I'd put them in front of the wood store. So when you come up the drive, you'll be greeted in spring by a little cheerful display of daffodils. There's already some which go in the lawn here. I planted them sort of alongside the old orchard fence, so they're sort of floating randomly in the lawn. But I'm thinking what I might do is put some more sort of in between the drive and there to sort of make it look more purposeful. I probably won't put some this side of the drive because that just might look a bit weird. Who knows? But anyway, and what I've just been doing is putting a new edge on this spade which Will got me for my birthday. These pointy type of shovels were very, very useful in our garden in Scotland, which was very stony, as is the garden here. But as you can see, it's not brand new. It came from a antique place, although I don't think this is particularly old. But it was very blunt, so you can maybe see that I've put a bit of an edge on it. It could do with a proper going over, but I don't have the time or actually the equipment at the moment to do that properly. And then it looks a bit mad because I've just sprayed it with some WD-40 to try and help. But I haven't used it yet, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to use my new spade to plant my new bulbs, to go in front of the new wood store, to give it a bit of springtime cheer. That's that done. In the end, neither of those worked, and I dug out instead my hori tool, which is an absolute beast, and I got that done in no time. I've spoken about this before. It was a present from my parents, one of the best things I've ever been given. It is infinitely useful, and I think I'll carry on planting the rest of my bulbs with it. It's the ideal tool for that sort of thing, and it's even got a gauge so I can know I'm planting them at an adequate depth. I'll leave a link, but if you haven't yet invested in a hori tool, I can't recommend it highly enough. Welcome to Sunday. I'm getting ready to go up the hill and do something I haven't done for quite some time, and that is do a bit of work on the backwoods. I'm assembling my equipment, trying to remember what I'm going to need. which basically consists of these things. The accoutrements to my chainsaw. I haven't had to go up there for quite a while because obviously it's been summer here, and whilst it hasn't been blazing hot, the fire's only really been going for a few hours in the morning most days, so the amount of wood we've been going through is so small, I've been able to get by with what we already had in stock. But now we're in autumn. It's a lovely, crisp, chilly morning, and although we've got a couple of days in the high 20s, early 30s ahead of us, Wednesday seems to be the tipping point. Wednesday seems to be the day autumn starts proper. So time to get back up the hill and bringing wood back down to the house. Truth be told, I can't actually quite remember where I got up to, but there is evidence there of a tree that's been sawn, and not much up here. That's the car door. So I'm using this big rock as a marker, and I'm assuming that sort of this is about where I need to start. I'm probably more than halfway up the hill now. The boundary's just up there. But what I'm doing is sort of working in blocks that are governed by the footpaths. So lower down the hill, there's basically the fire break and then what we call the centre path. But this block, we've got the Nan path and then the centre path. So I'm working fire break to Nan path all the way up to the top. And then I'll work my way back down and do Nan path to centre path, and on it goes. This just helps to keep me on track so that I'm not missing chunks. Anyway, I want to crack on with this because we've got other things to do this afternoon. So the sooner I can get this done, the better. And also, it's actually a very unpleasant job. Anyway, enough of me complaining. You'll catch up with me later and I'll be pleased this is all done.
I am making the roof trusses for the woodshed. These are the roof trusses, but most of the wood that I have are these 6 by 1.5, I think, boards, which need to be ripped down the middle to make 3 by 1.5 inch boards. And that's what I'm doing now, using our new Ozito circular saw. Ozito is an inexpensive but perfectly serviceable brand of circular saw. I did make a wooden fence, but it came with this, and this does a perfectly good job. Having cut the roof timbers, the next step is to make the brackets to attach the roof timbers to the shed. I plan to make the brackets by using these pieces of angle iron, which have been cut into 120mm lengths, drilling a hole there, there, there and there, and then welding these together like so. The idea being that it will be attached there, and then this roof beam will sit in this bracket like that.
So this is the roof timbers that we already have up, and this is the one that Will's been cutting, and then the metal's going to go on top of that.
Correct. So there's quite a lot of work to do. As you can see, we have quite a lot of metal to get through, but it'll be some good welding practice, and I have been given access to a good quality drill press, which should make the drilling easier of the holes. So that's the next step. I will see you when that is done.